Hey, moneymakers, welcome back to another episode of Taking Stock Live. I'm your host, Kalila Reynolds, and we're bringing you all the latest business news and telling you how it will affect you and your money. Now, there's been a lot of movement at the top at many of Jamaica's big companies. So we're trying to get as much of these new CEOs, these new bosses on as possible. And tonight is no exception. We're going to be speaking with the new CEO at Derrimon Trading Company. His name is Ian Kelly. And of course, we have a lot more show coming up for you. We have the Analysts on standby. We have our market recap. We have what's hot in business. We have me, because guess what? It is my birthday. And I'm here spending my birthday with my favorite people, you. So yeah, wish me a happy birthday in the comments. And send me some money on Patreon while you're at it. Not afraid to beg. By the way, we've changed our Patreon handle to Money Media JA. So we're at patreon.com/moneymediaja. Now, let me know in the chat, where are you joining us from this evening? What part of Jamaica or what part of the world? I want to shout out all my money makers. Now, come on, let's get this money. On this episode of Taking Stock, Derrimon Trading has a new boss. Ian Kelly has moved up the ranks to take over the reins. What can we expect from the company under his leadership? The new CEO joins us. And the analysts weigh in on the latest market developments. How did Jamaica's FX market perform in 2024? And what can we expect for the Jamaican dollar this year? We'll discuss.
But first, here's What's Hot, brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart.
T-Tech says it will be delisted by the end of the month. The IT solutions company made the announcement via the JSE last week. The move follows the recent takeover by cybersecurity company Simply Secure. T-Tech listed on the junior market in 2015 after raising $50 million through an initial public offer. The company said it anticipates the effective date of the delisting will be no later than Friday, February 28. JN Financial Group says it plans to sell JN Fund Managers after the third consecutive year of losses. According to its audited financials, the group recorded a loss of $2.5 billion for the year ending March 2024. It also lost $2.5 billion in 2023 and $165 million in 2022. The company said negotiations are underway for the sale of JN Fund Managers. They sold the bulk of JN Bank UK last September for a loss and are finalizing a deal to sell JN General Insurance. Scotiabank is reassuring customers that there's been no widespread cyber attack on its debit card users. In a statement over the weekend, the bank confirmed that several debit card holders were the victim of a recent fraud attempt. The bank said the issue was not widespread and the affected customers have already been contacted. Scotiabank said that all affected customers will be reimbursed. Trinidad and Tobago Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley says the country is seeking to expand its maritime territory in hopes of discovering new oil. As a signatory to the UN Law of the Sea Treaty, Trinidad conducts its oil exploration within a 200 nautical mile exclusive economic zone. Rowley said a claim has been submitted to expand the country's maritime borders. Trinidad has been producing oil and gas for over 100 years, but as a mature producer, it is harder and more expensive to extract new oil. The country recently signed a $90 million deal with Jamaica's oil refinery Petrojam to import fuel from Jamaica. U.S. President Donald Trump said the United States will immediately stop producing pennies for the foreseeable future. According to the U.S. Mint, which produces America's coins, it costs about 4 cents to produce the 1-cent coin. Trump called the production wasteful. The penny has been under fire for years. The movement to get rid of it picked up steam in January after the Department of Government Efficiency DOGE highlighted the production cost. The Mint said the rising cost of metals, including zinc and copper, is part of the reason the penny is so expensive to make.
What's Hot was brought to you by JMMB Group, your best interest at heart.
Guess what? You don't need to be rich in order to start investing. As a matter of fact, investing is how you get rich. You can start with as little as 1,000 Jamaican dollars at some firms, like this security guard that I met a few months ago. That's how much you started with?
1,000.
1,000.
Yeah. It's a good thing to do it still, to learn more.
Are you happy with it so far?
Yes.
Check out my Investing for Beginners course. Go to investingforbeginnersja.com to get started. Let's get this money.
Let's get this money.
Welcome back. Let's see who our early viewers are. Let's shout them out, starting with Super Villain joining us from Culloden, Westmoreland. We've got Raquel saying good night as usual, checking in from Kingston. Raquel, where is your usual enthusiasm telling people to like the video? I know it's coming. You're always on it. You're always on the ball. Dwight from Spanish Town is here as usual. Kish saying good night, I guess all the way from London as he usually is. We have Robert Williams saying happy birthday to me, the money lady. Let's get this money and celebrate. Thank you very much, Robert. Mount Felix Industries saying good night from Mandeville, Orville, day upon the gravel. We got David, blessings from St. James. Malik sending birthday greetings. Damien sending birthday greetings. Thank you very much, Royston. We have Wayne joining us from South Florida. Royston here from Red Hills. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Orville. Thank you, Zolin. Thank you, Orville again. Happy. Thank you, Wayne. Thanks, Philip. Thanks to everybody sending birthday greetings. Philip wants to know where is Philip talking about T-Tex voluntary delisting. Shavane, thank you very much. Roswell saying good evening. Let me see who else. Shavane is in Portland, and Unbothered Chico is in Clarendon. Clarendon Massive in the house. Big up on herself. Love to see it. So this evening's guest is the new boss, the new CEO over at Derrimon Trading. Although I don't know how new we can call him because Ian has been there for many years. Let's just bring him in. Derrimon Trading, as you may know, is one of the major distributors here in Jamaica. They distribute several products from Jamaica and the region. So let's introduce the new CEO of Derrimon Trading, Ian Kelly. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Khalila. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
A wonderful day, and I guess I've chosen the best days to spend with you.
Yes. My birthday present. Thanks, Ian. And there's some new letters behind your name, aren't there? You got a prime one of the awards at the last Heroes Day celebration.
Well, it was 2 years ago.
It was 2 years. I swear it was last year.
Order of Distinction, the Commander class.
OD. Sorry, yes. Ian
Right.
Kelly, OD, CEO, all the letters.
I think it's CD, not OD.
CD. Okay, good. Good to get it right. Well, tell us a bit about your background in business and your history with Derrimon.
Well, I'm from humble beginnings in Clarendon. I went to the Clarendon College. I then left Clarendon. I went to Excelsior Community College, where I did many things, diploma in business administration, majoring in accounting. At the same time, did some A-levels, 3 A-levels at the same time, matriculated to University of the West Indies, where I did a bachelor's in accounting, and it is registered in 1992 for my bachelor's degree that I met Derek Cottrell. We were both in the line, the queue, registering for courses, and that's where it started. 1992, 33 years of friendship, and then I finished. I actually studied full-time and worked at JPS in the early days. Upon completing my master's degree in 1998, I then went and did the certified public accounting course in Georgia, where I got qualified as a CPA. Came back, worked with the JPS up to 2002. Then I went to be the treasurer of RBTT Bank when it was Union Bank was bought by RBTT Trinidad. I stayed there, started RBTT Securities, where I was the first general manager in 2005. Upon the sale to Royal Bank of Canada, I decided I wanted to stay put. So I took the package and then went to the Wharton Business School to do some more studies in leadership and strategy and entrepreneurship. I came back home and was senior vice president at First Global Financial Services, and I spent 1 year, and I was made redundant on the 1st of April
Wow.
2011, and I decided to chill for a few months. And Derek asked me why work for somebody else and not join the firm. I went in there as a corporate planner, did and the director for finance. But my job wasn't just those core activities. I was responsible for most of the acquisitions. In fact, we did 15 acquisitions during that time that I'm here. And I moved from corporate planner, finance director to chief financial officer with responsibility for retail, the Sampar's growth. And then I moved to group chief financial officer whilst we were doing many of the acquisition, Caribbean Flavors, Woodcats, Arosa, Food Saver New York. And here I am today. I have been given the mandate to really move the company beyond the potential that we know it has with, the team as well as to get new ideas. And that's what I am about, and that's what we
Yeah.
aim to do over the
You see
next.
how you see how that works out? You were
Yes.
made redundant, but I feel like it was for a reason. It's because you had a different calling.
Yes, I always look at opportunities, Kalilia. I never see eventualities as a setback. I see it as an opportunity, and that is what I try to inculcate in my children. Also, I mean, even though they may be of different ages, my advice to them, as always, and to my nieces and to whoever I in contact with, use opportunities as a stepping stone to be great, and never dwell on the event. Think about the opportunities, and I live it. That's how I live my life, and that's how I continue to at least practice and to ensure that whatever we do, that is one of the legacy that I would wish to leave back here.
Yeah. So you've been with the company now for 14 years,
Okay.
rising through the ranks
Yes.
alongside your friend,
Yes.
Derek Cottrell. What was that conversation like when Derek said, "Boy, I'm ready to move on and just take a different role in the company." You take it on, Ian.
Well, 6 years ago, Derek told me that, Ian, you need to be more involved in some other aspects of the company because at a certain age, I am moving on, and it would be a travesty if in moving decide to move on, that you are not ready to take on the mantle. And whilst I haven't gone outside into another space, what I'm doing is really giving new ideas based on my thought process. He believed that you train people to be better than you who you are, and you train people to bring new ideas. And even though I was in the finance role, the first role is totally different from the second role.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, the exposure that I've been given in managing relationships and managing the different aspects of a company, I think give me the perfect platform on which that we need to, critically look at what we must do, ensure that we have the right people in the right places, and then we move to do what is required to, at least unleash much of the potential that is within the group.
It's a big transition to move a company from founder led, and it has been founder led for the past however many years Derrimon has been in existence and Derek has been at the helm, to handing over the reins to somebody else. It takes a lot of trust, and it must be even I don't know for you, Ian, because like you said, you've been kind of groomed for the position, but on Derek's part, did you sense any trepidation, any fear of handing over the reins and giving the company a different life, a new life?
Absolutely not. I think if you understand Derek is one of those individuals who has certain beliefs and is very focused on things, on planning. And I think um, I sometimes wonder if it is for real, given the way that he would have transitioned and has transitioned. He has really transitioned by giving us the opportunity to do what we think should be the platform within the policy direction. I thought it would have been a little harder for him, but I think he's having fun also given the role that he has been given as executive chairman. And it is also a pleasure to sit with him even more now in that role to look at strategies to get some of the ideas or to bounce off some of the ideas that I have, and also even just to laugh about some of the issues that confronts us on a daily basis, and to even hear his response. So quite frankly, it is a big one, but I think given where he has been for the last 25 years, I think it is just the right time for him. And it shows also that he's about growth, he's about continuity, and he's about, giving reward for persons who he thinks is in a position to live his dream.
So, what are some of your immediate priorities as CEO?
Well, the first thing that I've been doing is that I've been looking at a few things. I think we'll have to be a technology driven company. We have to focus on both employees and customers um, in equality, in order to ensure that the products that we have to deliver to them, it is done at a price, at speed. And I want us to be a customer centric organization. I want us to be able to can take up the phone at all levels and make a call. And we know that whatever I am saying as the CEO, what is being communicated at the different levels is what is expected from everybody. I want us to be an organization that can be trusted by all stakeholders, and I want to make money so that everybody can enjoy the benefits that accrues with performance.
Naturally, but you are taking over the company at a difficult time globally. We see President Trump is now in, there's all this uncertainty about the tariffs. What do you make of all of that? How's that going to affect Derrimon's business as a major distributor?
Well, look at it like this, Kalila. Last year we had a rather tough year. And I think out of those tough situations, there comes about opportunities. I think, as I've said to you before, with every single situation, there's opportunities. And I think globally, what we have to do is to take a look at the opportunities, ensure that we are focused, ensure that our strategies are aligned with some of what we're seeing, ensure that we carved out some levels of opportunities from many of these things. Yes, or subsidiaries in the US will experience some of the issues. Yes, given the fact that we are a distribution company, many of the global impacts from tariffs will impact some of the things that we do. But hey, if we should sit and think about that in totality, then we would not achieve what we need to achieve. What we need to do is that we need to look at the opportunities and be swift. I think the brain power that we have within the company and the person with whom we consult with should be able to help assist us to really, ensure that we take first movers advantage and be able to react based on some of the issues and the opportunities that comes with some of these new market changes.
But are any of your products directly affected?
There will be. There will be, because of the fact that we import, also because we also have to export to the US. We have to import from different markets to the US markets. For example, avocado. Most of the avocado that we sell in our New York subsidiary is from Mexico, with the new taxation on what is coming from Mexico, what is coming out of China.
Right. I forgot you guys had the New York supermarket, which you
Yes,
used the APO funds to acquire.
exactly. And we went through a turbulent time last year with the tragedy that we had in New York. But the truth is that we are back, and we are making some
What,
strides. And the
what
fact
what
is that
tragedy was that? What tragedy was that in New
we,
York?
in March last year, we had a collapse of the roof. So we were
Oh,
literally closed. So our financial results would have excluded about 40% of our year-over-year revenue based on what transpired. So we were only back in business with one section of the business in late November and the other part in February of this year. So um, that beset us for almost a year in our operation. But the truth is, whatever is happening to us is also what is happening to other players within the market. So it is for us to look and to see how we can make some different moves, or we are able to buy, or we're able to form different alliances, or we're able to use our opportunities within Jamaica, since Jamaica is not yet one of those country that is adversely impacted given the CBI initiatives, etc. So we should be able to pivot in some way, given that some of our raw material sources are impacted by tariffs, etc.
remind us of some of the major brands that you carry.
Our house brand is Delect, which we would have been building out over the last 5 years. The Delect brand, we Sun Powder, we do Golden Brands, we do Refresh Water, we do Nestle, we do some other products for other distributors in Jamaica, smaller products such that is white label. Our famous Spice Hill brand is our latest acquisition would have been the Arosa brand, where we are purveyors of wines as well as we do meat processing for the distribution and the hotel sector. So we have a broad spectrum of things that we do, and which we intend to be broadening and to be making even deeper inroads within the market this year.
What's the bigger part of the business, the distribution or the retail, your supermarkets, your Sampars and so?
Surprisingly, Sampars and Select is now being a bigger part than our distribution business. But we intend to grow both element segments of the business even greater this year based on the business plan. Sampars accounts for about 52% Sampar Select of our revenue, whilst the distribution aspect is about 48% based on our last check at the end of the 2024 financial year. But it is a year that had some challenges, and we expect to see both areas growing significantly in 2025, and from where we would have seen based on the first month of the
Right,
year, quite
because
encouraging.
the supermarket is outperforming the distribution, even with one of your supermarkets in New York being closed for several months.
Right, right. But you see, that is one of the reasons why we tend to be, people would have asked, why are you broadening your portfolio? We want to have some level of resilience in events of shocks. And as a result of that, we are in supermarket, we're in retail, we're in pallet making, we're in meat processing, we're in flavors manufacturing. So we're able to at least pivot in the event that there are issues. And I think, quite frankly, we see some sweet spots within the retail sector, and that's something that we'll intend to get even deeper over the next 3 to 5 years.
What sweet spots are those?
Look at it, Jamaica. There is a lot of new developments in the country. There's a lot of new dormitory committees. There's a lot of new requirements for shopping, and as a result of that, we intend to look at it and to see how our model fits within those levels of urbanization slash, and we'll accordingly, ensure that our strategy aligns with that level of development that is happening within our country.
So I have a question from one of your shareholders, Sherwayne, giving you a tough time, Ian. Sherwayne says, Derrimon has some explaining to do from I bought it, no appreciation and no dividends payment, and all after acquiring an overseas business. So where's my money?
Well, the truth is, I can understand. It's not true that we haven't paid dividends. We have paid dividends before, but if you recognize what we would have borrowed, every single penny of our equity expansions has been used for acquisition. Yes, some of them, the gestation period for a few of them have been longer than was anticipated. But certainly, I think we are at the end of the road, and we hope to be at the end of the road this year, whereby the growth and the appreciation is expected. And we have a plan, and certainly that plan is really to perform and to perform it so that our stakeholders can be rewarded. And I thank shareholders for their commitment and also for believing in us and for staying the course. But I'm sure you would have seen some of the appreciation in terms of the valuation of the company. Is just now for us to move from the valuation to conversion, and for them to be rewarded. But from a policy position, that is what we must do, and that is one of my mandates. And I intend to ensure that the team that I'm leading is so energized that we are able to deliver, so that rewards can be provided.
Next question from Learn, Grow, Invest, who wanted to know more about the roof collapse. Was it due to negligence or poor weather? What happened?
It was a combination of negligence of the aspects of negligence in our view from maintenance from the landlord, but they were in the process of doing the repair. There was a rainstorm and a windstorm, and with the rainstorm and the windstorm, it comes with certain issues, and that's what created the problems for us.
And follow-up question coming from Strong Link, wanting to know if insurance covered that.
We're always insured. In fact, insurance is one of our biggest costs. You would have seen, if you're looking at our financials, that over the last few years, insurance cost would have gone up by almost 40%. The building was insured. We had insurance, so it's just a matter of us making the claims. However, you understand insurance and insurance claims in the US and even in Jamaica, it takes time and it takes a process, and we are going through that process as we speak.
Next question comes from 007. I think he might want to do business with you. Do you have warehouse space for long-term lease?
Absolutely not. We don't have any warehouse space for long-term lease at the moment.
Okay, Roswell wants to know, why don't you buy into a company that can bring in dividend income that can help cushion expenditure and more?
I think that is what we would have done. Why would have been not only in retail and distribution, we're in manufacturing, pallet manufacturing, mulch manufacturing. We would have been in flavors manufacturing, fragrance manufacturing. We would have been in manufacturing of other products. We would have been in meats manufacturing. We would have been in wine distribution. So the business, I think, is quite diverse. And I think if it wasn't that diverse, and to lose 40% of your revenue within 1 year, whilst you'll have to maintain many of the costs because of the operating environment, I'm not sure where we would have been. So I think based on our strategy, it is working. It's just for us to fine tune many of the different aspects that we see that we need to do. And that is something that we are about, we are committed to be doing. And it's something that I know that the team that I led is committed to ensuring that is happening this financial year.
You mentioned earlier in the interview that you were in charge of acquisitions for the company. Do you have any acquisitions or expansion on the horizon? Any new supermarkets, any new locations looking to open?
Kalila, the mandate from the board is to right size to ensure that all the acquisitions are are operating efficiently and effectively. And I think that is our plan this year, is to ensure that we really look at what we have. We look at where the value is that is not extracted. We ensure that we put in the systems and the framework to ensure that these businesses perform before we even think about doing any more acquisitions at this time.
So not necessarily to grow right now, but to manage what you have.
Well, not to grow in that way through acquisition, but to grow through performance of the businesses
Right.
we have.
All right. Well, I'm wishing you all the best. Ian, anything you'd like to share before you leave?
Well, I just say, I mean, you are here with us in many of our major market activities, and you continue to support us. The public continues to support us. The team continue to be aligned to what we are going to do, what we have been doing, and what we will be doing even new this year. And we just want to at least thank them for their commitment, and certainly they will help us to ensuring that the growth in the Dillette brand, the growth in the refresh brand, since they are shareholders, they are literally buying what is there, and that will translate into outcomes that will benefit them.
Thanks again, Ian. Wishing you all the best for Derrimon Trading and in your new tenure as CEO.
Thank you, and also continue to enjoy the birthday.
Yes, of course, because I'm with my favorite people, the money makers. So it's time for this evening's poll question. If you saw the bottom line last week, we did like several days of research on Trump tariffs and will it affect your orders from China? Just as I was ready to hit record, breaking news, the tariffs are rolled back for now. It's like, I would not want to be a reporter in the United States. The journalists in the US must be tired, because every minute news, they are not short of news over there. I can't keep up. And so our poll question for this evening is, what do you think? Let me find it. What do you think has been Trump's biggest decision since taking office? Because his trigger finger be ready with them executive orders, man. His right in hand must cramp by now. What do you think has been Trump's biggest decision since taking office? Here are your options. A, immigration policies. B, trade wars with Canada, China, and Mexico. C, removal of China from customs exemption. Or D, all right, never mind. See, I mixed it up. Okay, let's go again. What do you think has been Trump's biggest decision since taking office? A, immigration policies. B, trade wars with Canada and Mexico. C, removal of China from customs exemption. Or other, leave a comment. I'd actually just say C, China. Anything to do with China, because it's been quite a ride. So what do you think has been Trump's biggest decision since taking office? And then other can be so many things as well, because the DEI stuff, that's diversity, equity, and inclusion. Oh my gosh, there is a whole laundry list. Every day there's breaking news from this administration. I saw one today. They're going back to plastic straws. Big announcement. We're going back to plastic straws, guys. All right. What has been Trump's biggest decision since taking office? You can take that poll over on Twitter or on the community tab in YouTube. Tomorrow, you'll get your What's Hot in Business email. The poll will be in the email as well. Or you can just leave a comment here in the chat and let us know what you think has been Trump's biggest decision since taking office. Up next, we have your market recap, and our analyst is standing by. Time now for your market recap. The JSE combined index lost about 1.3% last week. 125 stocks traded across the main and junior markets for the week ending Friday, February 7, 2025. 41 made gains, 74 lost value, and 10 stayed the same. 107 million shares changed hands on the Jamaican dollar market, valued at $623 million. Kintyre Holdings, formerly known as iCreate, was the week's most traded stock, with 13 million shares changing hands. It started the week at 40 cents, down 7%. TransJam traded the second most shares. The stock opened Monday at $4.11, up 1.5%. And Wigton rounded out last week's most traded. The stock fell almost 4% to start the week at $1.25. Now let's see who had the biggest gains of the week. 138 Student Living Variable Preference was the top gainer, up 27%. Iron Rock Insurance had the second biggest gain, up 18%. And JMMB 5.75 FRUSD CR preference shares rounded out the top stocks, up 17%. On the losing side now, First Rock Real Estate USD was last week's biggest loser. It fell 27% to open Monday at 3 cents US. T-Tech shares fell 19% after news that the company will be delisted by the end of the month. Meanwhile, MPC Caribbean Clean Energy USD lost almost 17% to close out the week. Over on the Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, the composite index gained 0.4% last week. JMMB Group was the TTSE's most traded stock. It gained 1% to open Monday at $1.03 TT. National Enterprises was Trinidad's top gainer, up 6% to start the week at $2.69 TT. And on the losing side, LJ Williams B shares fell 7% to open Monday at 75 cents TT. Over in the U.S., the Dow Jones was mostly flat last week, while the S&P 500 gained 1% and the Nasdaq gained 1.6%. At the pumps, gas prices rose by 25 cents last week, while diesel prices fell 25 cents. In foreign exchange, it took an average $157.63 Jamaican to purchase $1 last Friday. That's 19 cents more than the week before. $1 Canadian cost an average $111.27 Jamaican. $1 British pound cost $197.33 Jamaican. And you could buy €1 for $162.75 Jamaican on average. Finally, on the crypto markets, Bitcoin was up 0.5% over the past 5 days, trading at $97,110 on Monday. Ethereum, on the other hand, fell 4%, trading at $2,664 on Monday. Like the show? No, I mean, do you really like this show? Well, support us by making a donation on Patreon. Your support will go a long way in allowing us to continue creating content like this and keep taking stock free for everyone. Go to patreon.com/moneymediaja. The link is in the description. This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, is brought to you by JMMB.
Disclaimer. This is not intended as financial advice. Please consult a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions.
Welcome back. Let's take some of your comments, especially those responses to the poll question. I see a lot of people were answering A, which was on the immigration topic. Philip says, making Elon the real vice president has been Trump's biggest decision. Learn, grow, invest in. That's why they haven't covered the Trump issues, because it just happens so quickly. By the time you can get a script out, get a script done, try to record, the story doesn't change. Oh, it's so hard to keep up with. Lavaine says, interesting times in America right now. Kish says, C, anything to do with China. Sherwayne says, immigration policies. Lanesra says, Trump needs to sit down and think before he makes decisions right now. Malik saying immigration. 007 says immigration. Kish says China. Lanesra says immigration. Strong Link says other, attending the Super Bowl. What did you guys think of Kendrick Lamar's performance? Very, very interesting. It was quite the statement, especially with Trump in attendance. Sean says, I feel like Trump leaving WHO is the biggest one. Like I said, I can't keep up long list of things. Well, it's time now to bring in our analysts, because with all these talks of international relations and what is happening with the new president in America, their dollar strengthening, what's happening to our dollar? That is the discussion tonight. Our guest this evening, our analyst this evening, is senior trader at JMB, Andre Reed. Welcome, Andre.
Hi, Kalila.
How are you?
I'm good. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I remember, and it feels like not long ago, we were talking about the dollar wine and the dollar grind and all that stuff when, you had rapid devaluation of the Jamaican dollar. These days, it's been a bit more stable, although we have seen some slides, especially since COVID. Give us an overview of where the dollar is at, like over the past year, and then afterwards we'll get into what the forecast is.
Okay, well, the forecast. So what we've seen over the past couple of months is that there has been moderate to strong demand. A lot of it seems to be coming from both aspects of the market. We'll talk about end users. End users usually are persons who are in the business of importation of goods and services. And usually whenever there's any form of widening in terms of the gap of devaluation, the BOJ actually intervenes to satisfy that demand. Their intervention is through an auction system. It's called B-Fixed auction system. Usually the auction, I don't know, they don't usually give us a specific number ahead of time. Usually on the day, if they're intervening, you'll know what that number is. But year to date, they've actually intervened with a total of just about 230 million, sorry. And that is probably in line with market expectations, because
Year
once
to
you
date,
find that
since January.
since January, that's over 7 different intervention periods.
That sounds like a lot. Is it
It
a lot?
is.
You need to give us some context.
Well, to be fair, the market trades that is somewhere about 12 point something percent of the trading volumes year to date. So as it stands now, it might seem a little bit alarming, but once we go further down in the year, when we'll end up with maybe revaluation in between, they will actually be staying out of the market. Because the truth is, what the BOJ really wants is for orderly movement in the currency. They've actually been intervening on the other side too, if there is a need where we actually end up with revaluation that is too rapid. So in any direction, what the BOJ would want to see is orderly movement, more towards the upside, I would say as well, because coming out of the December period, when we would have gotten a bit of revaluation, and it is customary that we get either reduced pressure on the currency or revaluation in this December period, as you have remittance inflows coming in during that time. What I'd probably want to present too is that normally during the first quarter of the calendar year ending on March, what you'll find is that the movement overall in the currency is usually a little bit lower than the other 2 quarters, Q2 and Q3. Reason being, once you get to the March period, when a lot of companies actually have to be paying taxes in Jamaican dollars. We've had the discussion, I've heard about it, the asset taxes, you have the regular corporate taxes that actually pay. That means that a lot of Jamaican dollars flows out of the system during that time. So even though BOJ intervened, and it seems like a pretty big number at this point, once we get to the March period, we expect that pressure might ease a little bit, because at that time most institutions would actually be handling Jamaican dollars. We may see a slight pickup when you get to closer into the summer months, because usually you find that some amount of demand, and it can come from both segments, where you find that businesses are actually looking to ramp up inventories. Maybe we'll be back to school, and then after back to school, we're talking about the December shelf products, right? So usually you get the movements between the Q2 and Q3, and then we end up with revaluation around Q4. So there's a lot of talk about the movement. To be fair, it is not the worst that we've seen, and the fact that the BOJ has actually been able to intervene and actually defend the currency at regular intervals is something that we probably should be looking back in previous years and wonder, well, maybe not necessarily wonder, but acknowledge that we've actually come a far way, because there was points in between where I don't know if anybody would go out on a limb and say it, but it's difficult to see the BOJ intervening with $230 million over the space of 2 months without expressing concern that the NIR is being depleted significantly. Now we're at 5 point something billion dollars, which equates to, I think, around 41 weeks of importation of goods. So I'm not exactly alarmed by the movement. I'm happy that the BOJ is able to consistently intervene in the market to provide for especially the goods and services, because remember too that when you talk to a lot of the economists, they're always going to talk about the fact that inflation or the exchange rate has a pass-through effect on inflation. Now, if it is that the exchange rate devalues beyond a certain point, then that number filters into the inflation number, and it becomes an even more difficult task for the BOJ to be looking to cut interest rates as it actually has been trying to embark on since the latter part of last year. Looking forward, it's not exactly a difficult space to maneuver. As I said, there is enough NIR to consistently defend the currency, and I think that, especially in terms of the portfolio move that we may see, because remember that a lot of the financial institutions are somewhat regulated in terms of the exposure of their portfolio that they can actually hold in US dollars. It is the other, I don't want to call them unregulated, but they're not necessarily bounded by the rules of the Bank of Jamaica and the FSC. Those are the institutions that perhaps will look to maybe position portfolios that would be in US dollars and might actually add a little bit of pressure to the currency. We're not at a point where the uncertainty in the economy or even the global financial landscape has gotten worse to the point where people are just looking to own US dollars regardless of, because to be fair, US dollars and the US Treasury instruments are considered a safe haven. We're not seeing where that is a major impact on the market as yet. So, all in all, it's still a fairly decent space that we're operating in, because we've had devaluation of much beyond the 2 to 3% that our analysts will always talk about. We can go back to 2008, which is an anomaly, of course. We I think in 2021 there was also double-digit devaluation as well. So to be talking about maybe just 0.73% movement year to date is not exactly a bad position to be in. Calendar year to date, I think we're at 1.13% in terms of devaluation compared to last year, 2024, which is 1.63%. So if we're just looking at it comparatively in terms of percentage movement, this year is still much better than last year, because even for the fiscal year to date movement, 2.25% depreciation as opposed to 4.35% year to date. So, I mean, while the dollar movement might seem a little bit much, percentage-wise, which is where a lot of people would want to put the gauge, it's still a little bit more favorable than in previous years.
I remember a couple months ago, we were very close to hitting the 160 mark. And I feel like that's a psychological barrier that
it is.
When it does hit that mark, people will take note. And I saw the BOJ intervened right before that.
Absolutely. So we've seen where the BOJ actions have actually caused a revaluation in the currency, and I think even the market players right now, once you trade beyond a certain level, once you see any type of movement in the currency beyond a certain level, it's almost a given to look to see if there's going to be any BOJ intervention. Even if there is some amount of trading, you'll find that it will be cautious increments that people will be trading in, as opposed to blocks of maybe 1 to 2 million or even 5 million trades. It would be more in the hundreds of thousands of blocks that you'll see changing hands, because you really don't want to be that guy that gets caught holding 160 money and end up with some amount of revaluation.
Question coming from Roswell online. Roswell wants to know, how long can BOJ intervene in the market? We don't print USD. One analyst states 5 billion US may not last for 2 years if the demand continues to be strong with low inflows.
Well, I mean, the BOJ has demonstrated that it has the capacity to do that. I don't necessarily want to act as if I know what the central bank exactly will do, but we know what the mandate is. Yes, we operate in a floating currency, and that actually means that they will always be having a need to interact with the market, whether it be through intervention by selling foreign exchange, or even the side of moral suasion as is necessary. So and there are always funds coming in to actually replace those outflows. May not necessarily be to the exact magnitude, but to look at it in absolute terms is probably not the best way to look at it, because we're not exactly tracking where the inflows are coming from. So if I had a handle on that side, then maybe we'll be speaking a different language. But I don't know, especially given last year, because last year it was like almost $1.1 billion of intervention. That turned out to be somewhere about 5% of the overall market trading. So 200 million is still a smaller percentage of the 1.1 that we saw.
Yeah, but that's
last year.
200 million, and we're only a month and a half into 2025. If you continue at the same pace, it's going to be a lot more than the 1.1 billion.
True, but it's not reasonable to assume that the pace will always be the same. I did mention that usually when you get around the March period, there will be demand for the Jamaican currency, which means that that pressure on foreign exchange is likely to reduce. In fact, what you might see is that some institutions may actually have to sell US dollars to pay their Jamaican dollar obligations. So over those, between late February, early March, we might actually see where the pressure might ease a little bit as well. And then now we get into the December period, which usually we end up with either revaluation or some amount of stability. So, I'm not going to expect, it's unreasonable to expect that it's going to be a straight line up to 160.
Strong Link wants to know, is the NIR gaining or declining year to date?
The last number I saw was an increase.
Good stuff. Good to know. Before you go, Andre, a different topic. This is a great discussion on the dollar. Actually, before I change the topic, do you think that where we are now at 157 something to 1 US, that is a true value of the Jamaican currency? It's a big hypothetical, theoretical question.
So remember, it's.
I know countries like China, they're always accused of undervaluing their currency for trade purposes and whatnot. Where we are now, is that something that a consideration that we ought to have?
Well, for us, remember that we have a rate that is largely determined by market, right? So you find that it's prices that are usually determined by buyers and sellers. It's not like in other countries where there is fixed or as you might have mentioned, cases of perceived manipulation of the currency. I think what the BOJ does is to ensure that there is enough to satisfy, especially the goods and services that are needed for regular citizens, and not throw the whole inflation number out of whack, if I can say that word, right? But the point I'm trying to make is that where we are is a price determined largely by market. So in my estimation, it would have been somewhat fair.
Okay. All right. I just got a note from my producer, so I won't change the topic on what I wanted to ask you about something else, but it's all right.
Let's talk about stocks or equities.
Yeah.
So to be fair, no,
it was a very specific thing that I wanted to ask you about. So but I'll leave that for another time.
Okay.
Right. All right. So we're fairly stable now. I said Learn, Grow, Invest as stable-ish. And do you expect that is going to continue for the rest of the year. And when, if and when we do hit 160, what impact is that likely to have?
Usually when you end up with these psychological markers, the market's perception changes somewhat. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why we have not seen where trading or even the weighted average actually closes above that level as yet. There will be small pockets where you find that rates are much higher than what is the reported weighted average. But um, for me, I think that if we get beyond that number, the market probably will be more somewhat cautious in their approach. I don't think it's going to be panic, that the world is ending kind of thing. Because to be fair, the BOJ will actually be continuing to ensure that there is stability in the market. I don't think we'll get to the point of other countries, without calling names, that are having struggle trying to find currency for sorry, for their citizens to use. And actually
I
some
thought you were going. I
institutions.
thought you were going to cough and say the name.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But yeah, you've seen where they have been largely restricted, and we are at this point nowhere near that kind of situation.
Okay, well, that's good to know. So stable-ish being the word of the
Ish.
day, I would say.
Ish.
Thank
And
you for
and
that.
to be fair though, Kalila, coming from double digits down to 2 to 3, maybe even 4%, it's still not as bad as we were before. So I'd say very stable coming from where we were. I mean, '08 is a crisis period. December, I mean, 2021, 2021, that would have been the pandemic, again, somewhat panic setting. But to be fair, it's not as bad as we would have seen in prior years.
Yeah. Thanks, Andre. Much appreciated. We'll take our final break, come back with your comments, and I want to show you something as well. This segment of Taking Stock, The Analysts, was brought to you by JMMB. Your best interest at heart. All right, let's take your final comments. I see quite a few in the chat. Lanesra pointing out that the NIS has increased by 3.2% from November figures to December. We've got Strong Link saying if we get there slowly, the impact won't be severe, but if we bolt to 160, then it could be a problem. I feel like when you see things like that, people start panicking. And that's when people want to go buy up and hoard US dollars because they're like, oh my gosh, the dollar is sliding, even though we've been on a very steady, consistent trajectory over the past couple of years. Roswell pointing out, what if tourism traffic slows down in Jamaica, plus the weakening inflows, exports pull back due to tariffs? We don't need no master's degree to tell. We've got Strong Link saying, look, this year we have the impact of Trump's policies to consider, remittances and tourism plus tariffs. Yep, a lot going on. Roswell again, I don't wait, predict and act. No BOJ executive will say that Jamaica USD NIR will run low. Wise person will understand what's happening and build on that info. We have a few more as well, a few more comments as well. But I want to show you guys something on the Money Mission website. So we have a couple of new features on the website. Let me share my screen. Share screen, Money Mission. All right, so this is our homepage. We've added a resources tab for those of you who are always emailing me and DMing me asking for various things. You want the broker guide, you want the money dictionary, you want whatever it is. We now have a resources guide right here on the homepage, moneymissionja.com. So you don't have to email me for it. You don't have to DM me for it. You don't have to, well, we often put out calls to action and say, comment broker and you get the broker guide, for example. But you also have an other option to go directly to the website. And here are the resources that we currently have. We have your newsletter, the money dictionary, broker guide, the risk profile quiz, that is the newest one, the build your budget template, the Christmas budget guide, the credit card hacks document and Michael Lee Chin's principles. So you can get those at moneymissionja.com. We also have a blog over there. So we have a lot of articles on the website. How will Trump's tariffs affect the Caribbean? This is the bottom line video that I did last week. This is the transcript. How to spot investment scams, what is risk, 3 things I wish I knew when I started investing. And the new feature on this is the search button. So many times you guys will DM me saying, you did a video 2 weeks ago. I can't find it because I have so much content on the page and you're trying to scroll through the page to find it. I can't find it. How do I find it? Now you can just go to the blog section on the website and search the keyword. So if you wanted to know about the tariffs, there you go. Trump's tariffs comes right up. If you want to know about budgeting, here are all the articles we have so far about budgeting. We've populated this page pretty quickly, I might say, because this website has only been up for a few months and we already have a whole bunch of articles on there. If you want to know about credit cards, we have a few articles here on credit cards, or whatever topic it is, you can find it at moneymissionja.com. So I just wanted to share that with you and encourage you to utilize the website, visit the page, download our free resources. We have some new resources coming soon as well, and you can look out for those. Let me take a few more comments before I leave. So true. We don't have any new comments. I thought we did. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us yet another week. I appreciate your presence. It is my pleasure to be here with you and my pleasure to serve you on my birthday. And I want to thank you for, spending my birthday with me here at the Money Studio, and reminding you as well that this studio is available for anyone who, wants to produce content, or if you just need a quiet place to do some work and do some meetings and so on, go to moneystudio.ja.com. Subscribe to the newsletter at, what is it again? getmoneynews.com, or you can go over to the website and you can subscribe to the newsletter. Subscribe to our Instagram page, our reactivated Instagram page at Money Media JA. My personal page is at Kalila Ray over on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and we'll be seeing you throughout the year. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm Kalila Reynolds. Thanks to our hardworking production team led by the lady Sashelle Williams, Izzy Ramsey over on Instagram, Alexa Roberts, our video editor, and the entire team as well. See you next week.